계산하고 드셔야죠.
야, 계산대 하려고.
알바생이랑.
잠시만요. 계산 좀 해주시겠어요?
아니,
잔돈이 있을까요?
Seeing the cashier mumbling and frozen while the robber emptied the register into his bag, the girl didn't hesitate. She calmly reached into the robber's bag and took back the loose change. The robber was dumbfounded. Do they not even take us robbers seriously anymore?
뭐하냐?
Ballerina is a revenge thriller that will have women everywhere cheering for justice. It's a high-octane, no-nonsense film where the only way to deal with human traffickers is to meet violence with violence. The protagonist, Ok-ju, is a skilled bodyguard with impressive combat abilities. However, ever since she left the security company, her life has felt directionless, drifting through the days, not knowing why she's even working so hard for money. That is, until her birthday. On this fateful day, she meets someone who changes everything.
제 생일인데요.
에? 대박! 오늘이 너 생일이야?
네?
장욱주 나 기억 안 나? 유아중학교 2학년 7반 최민희.
Min-hee, a bright and optimistic woman who quickly warms her heart. Ok-ju begins to see life in a new light, even daring to dream of becoming a ballerina, just like Min-hee. But one night, Ok-ju receives a strange phone call from Min-hee.
혹시 지금 시간 괜찮아?
When Ok-ju arrived at Min-hee's apartment, it was completely empty. The place, however, is decorated as if for a birthday party, and there's even a gift for Ok-ju, a pair of ballet shoes, along with a note from her best friend. Confused, Ok-ju frantically calls Min-hee, only to discover that she had already taken her own life. Slitting her wrists in the bathroom, determined to uncover what drove Min-hee to this, Ok-ju follows the clues left behind. One of the clues led her to a suspicious food delivery website, which she soon discovered was a front for selling illegal substances. Ok-ju pretended to place an order, but the other side quickly saw through her ruse, asking a few probing questions before disconnecting. Ok-ju stared at the photos in confusion when, suddenly, Min-hee's phone rang.
여보세요? 또 대답 안 하네. 옆에 또 뭐 친구들 있냐? 내일 잠수교로 나와. 새벽 2시에 시장이 열릴 거니까. 너 이번에도 안 나오면 그땐 네 친구고 뭐고 네 가족까지 연다 끊어줄 테니까.
In the early hours of the next morning, Ok-ju, disguised as a passerby, sat across from a bridge, quietly observing. A black car pulls up, and several masked men meet a long-haired man, exchanging bags in what seems to be a shady deal. Sure enough, the bag contains several bottles of contraband, confirming Ok-ju's suspicions. When Min-hee's phone rings again, Ok-ju realizes the man behind this is the long-haired one she's been tracking. She follows him to an isolated mansion, waiting until he leaves the next day before sneaking inside. She was desperate to understand why Min-hee had taken her own life. Ok-ju first planted some listening devices around the house, then headed upstairs to search key areas. In a locked cabinet, she finds whips, gloves, and videos of numerous women from various professions: nurses, models, students, all victims like Min-hee. It was only now that she realized Min-hee had been drugged and assaulted by the long-haired man, then blackmailed and tormented, which ultimately drove her to take her own life. Furious, Ok-ju resolves to take revenge. By monitoring the long-haired man, Ok-ju quickly confirmed that he would be hunting for new victims at a certain bar. Disguising herself as easy prey, she lets him capture her. But Ok-ju is no ordinary victim. The long-haired man took Ok-ju to a secluded hotel, where she pretended to be drugged. Feeling confident, the man smugly pulled out his tools, put on a mask, and prepared to record another compromising video to blackmail her. To her surprise, the long-haired man realized what was happening and managed to catch the knife with his hand. Just as she's about to kill him, an accomplice bursts in with a shotgun, forcing Ok-ju to flee. Left with no choice, she was forced to retreat for now. She blocks the door, but as she escapes down the hallway, a man with a chainsaw appears. The man had an electronic ankle monitor, revealing that this place was clearly a criminal hideout. With the help of another captive girl, Ok-ju escapes, even stealing the long-haired man's Lamborghini on the way out. When he comes to, he finds himself surrounded by tattooed gang members. The gang's leader? He was none other than Chief Joe, the notorious leader of the criminal gang.
내가 너한테 기집애 관리나라고 했지 누가 물뽕 팔면서 이상한 야동이나 만들려고 했니?
그 여자애는 3일 안에 데리고 와. 할 수 있지?
On the other side, the girl confided in Ok-ju, revealing that she too had been drugged and blackmailed with videos, but she believed that justice would come one day. Now, all she wanted was to join forces with Ok-ju and wipe out their enemies. Meanwhile, the long-haired man found his partner in the contraband trade and offered him 100 million won to track down and eliminate Ok-ju. Determined, Ok-ju sought out her former security company boss, hoping he could help her get some illegal gear. The boss tried to reason with her, suggesting she go to the police if she was in trouble, but Ok-ju stood her ground, and eventually, her boss introduced her to a gun dealer. The guns, much like the dealer, were old and worn, but fortunately, some were still functional. The elderly woman, hearing that Ok-ju was preparing for a big hunt, even introduced her to a more powerful weapon. It was from the World War II era, but it packed a serious punch. At the same time, the long-haired man and his partner connected with a private investigator to track down Ok-ju's sports car. While washing the car, they accidentally discovered a tracking device Ok-ju had left under the vehicle. Later that night, as Ok-ju returned from the grocery store, she was ambushed. Thanks to her skills, she managed to escape by jumping out a window. Unfortunately, the young student wasn't as lucky. She was captured by the long-haired man, taken to a stable, and brutally tortured by him. After escaping, Ok-ju quickly made her way to the hotel. The scene was gruesome. One receptionist lay dead in a pool of blood, while another injured man, limping and terrified, was held at gunpoint by Ok-ju as she demanded to know the whereabouts of the long-haired man.
딱 한 번만 물어볼게. 그 새끼 어딨어?
Ok-ju then stealthily infiltrated the stables but found no trace of the long-haired man. Instead, she discovered the girl's discarded clothes, realizing that the girl might have met a tragic fate. Without hesitation, Ok-ju descended from the elevator into the basement, only to discover that it was not only part of the stables but also a secret location where the gang was cultivating illegal substances.
내가 이만한 여자 한 명을 찾고 있거든. 나한테 이것저것 물어보지 않고 얘가 어디 있는지만 말해준다면 내가 여긴 그냥 지나가 줄게.
At that moment, the gang leader appeared. He didn't want the situation to escalate any further and tried to reason with Ok-ju, suggesting they sit down and talk things through.
내가 너한테 뭐 개인적인 감정이 있는 거.
But Ok-ju wasn't one for small talk. The gang leader met a swift and painless end. With no one left to answer her questions, Ok-ju decided to eliminate them all.
이제 좀 말해줄 수 있겠어?
Covered in blood, she returned to the stables above, only to come face to face with the drug man, who had just arrived. In his car was the brutally tortured body of the young girl. Devastated, Ok-ju was about to shoot the drug man when the long-haired man suddenly attacked from behind.
잘했어. 마무리 내가 해요. 1억 계좌이체 빨리 해줘.
1억은 지금 다 뒤진 마당에.
Okay, Ju quickly ducked behind a car for cover, just as the long-haired man cocked his gun to kill her. The girl, who was miraculously still alive, crawled up from behind the car. She grabbed Ju's dropped pistol and fired several shots at the long-haired man, though none of them hit their mark. In the final act, Ju and the girl dragged the long-haired man to the seaside. Simply shooting him felt far too lenient, so they brought out a flamethrower.
아이 도대체 뭐 때문에 이렇게까지 하는 거냐고.
나 기억 안 나? 나야. 발레리나.
The movie ends,